Hey guys, Jilly's back. uh, I'll get into why I was away, but first of all, let's start with the fun stuff. Okay, it's probably not fun, but I'm going to do it anyway. I took notes because I'm so rusty. SARS-CoV-2, coronavirus, Chinese pandemic, COVID-19, the really gross and tasteless one, boomer remover, Wu flu. So so this virus that we're dealing with, COVID, it's so woke, so very woke, that instead of having 52 genders, it has 52 names. Too soon? Maybe. Maybe it's just a really bad joke. But anyway, it made me giggle whenever I first thought of it. But then, I mean, that was shortly after listening to Jagmeet Singh say stupid things. So, I was already laughing. Okay, so where have I been? I'm trying to sync up my notes because I'm seriously totally out of it. So, where have I been? First of all, I was working on a project about Western alienation. And what has wound up happening is that's kind of put on the back burner because COVID happened. Yeah, I was pretty disappointed, but I'm still working on it. I will still address those issues that we have in Western Canada. It's just there's really no point now because we are in this crisis mode, and that's really all that we should be focused on. We can't start talking politics and pointing fingers and being crazy and stupid whenever this is going on. And to that end, let's see here, a shout out to Mr. Premier Jason Kenney of Alberta, and Dr. Hinshaw, who is our top doc in Alberta, and that whole Alberta team, because you guys have been doing an amazing job. I really have to point out that Alberta is the third per capita, the third most tested jurisdiction in the world. Number one, I believe, is Bahrain. Number two is South Korea. And number three is Alberta in Canada. Amazing. So seriously, from myself, my amazing roommate, I'm not going to say her name because I don't know if she'd like it. So we'll just call her AM. And from us and from, I'm sure, all Albertans, thank you so much. Good job. We are so pleased with what's happening here. And let me just say for the record, I am not like one of those Jason Kenney fangirls. I know he's not perfect. And I wasn't totally in love with him before this happened, but now I'm really a huge affection for him. It's like I say about Trump, I've never been a big Trump fan, but every day I kind of like him more and more and more. And I mean, it's not that I didn't like Donald Trump. He was kind of, he's just always this kind of arrogant guy that I was interested in his business stuff. Whenever he became president, I thought he was the lesser of two evils. And as he's been going along, I've just liked more and more. And Jason Kenney's kind of having the same effect on me. I wasn't terribly impressed with him. He wasn't my choice for leader of the UCP. But the more I see of him, the more I like him. And especially in this time of crisis, I think he is probably the greatest leader we have in this country because he's really taken the bull by the horn and done everything that he could in his power within his purview. Some people have said, well, he never shut down the airports. Well, he can't shut down international flight because that's not his jurisdiction. That's federal. So what he did was he tried to mitigate the situation. So as an example, whenever he started hearing that the airports weren't screening like the federal government said they were, that they had extended more or had done more extensive screening, he actually went to the airport. I believe Legault in Quebec did the same. They went to the airport and went, hey, this isn't happening. Now, I don't know what Legault did, But Jason Kenney here in Alberta actually said, okay, if the federal government aren't going to do more advanced screening, we're going to figure out a way here provincially to do more advanced screening. So hats off to him and the team. I can't say enough good things. Like I say, my roommate Anne-Marie, oops, she also was wanting me to say, like, hats off and thank you very much, Mr. Kenney. So so yeah, from us, we're really happy and can't wait to see more and more of what's being rolled out and what's being done, because I think we're very fortunate here to have the leader that we have. Okay, so let's talk. I mean, I'm doing kind of a high note and then a low note. So let's talk about the low notes. These are the jackasses that are doing horrible things, I guess because they're panicking. I don't know. But recently we had a food bank that was broken into, and lucky for them, the police caught them, because I'm thinking if some of those blockade busters had got hold of them, it probably wouldn't have gone as nicely for them. But, you know, these are the kinds of things that are happening. We know about those people in Vancouver, and I'm sure there's a lot of other ones as well, that were buying up all the stock in wipes and what have you, and selling them for 2, 3, 4 times the price on Amazon and Kijiji and what have you. So thankfully, Amazon and Kijiji, I don't know about eBay, but they've put a stop to it. They're like, no, we see it happening and you're going to get shut down right away. So awesome, way to go. But yeah, there's those jackasses. And then we have even more jackasses. The scammers are taking advantage of what's happening. I've heard of 2 different scenarios. The first one is the predator will call a person, tell them that they've tested positive for COVID, and then will ask them for their credit card information. Second possibility that I've heard of is that a predator will call, and I'm calling them predators, you can call them scammers, I don't care, assholes is what I really like to call them, but these guys will call you up and say your utilities are being cut off and ask you for your credit card information, regardless of what it is or how they do it. And I will tell you a personal story. I get phone calls all the time from people who say that they are from the Canadian tax offices and that I am under arrest for tax evasion. And I have to kind of laugh because I'm like, yeah, okay. And they're coming to get me. And it's like, so come. Because I know that, I believe it's called the CRA, Canadian, whatever. Anyway, you know what I mean. The tax people, they don't do that kind of thing. They don't have the authority to arrest you. Not to mention, you have to go through court before they can do anything. So, yeah, no. So what I want to just point out to anybody who doesn't know, and I'm sure y'all are smart enough to know this, but, you know, pass it around to people that maybe don't know these things. If you're getting phone calls from anybody who's asking you for credit card information or who's telling you something that is scary, hang up the phone immediately. Call the place that you need to call, whether it's Alberta Health Services or your doctor's office would be a good place to check. Wherever, if you got COVID testing, wherever you got that testing, call them. But find a way to get the information. Your utility companies, call them. Find out if they are actually wanting your credit card information. And something that's happening in Alberta, and I'm sure other jurisdictions are the same, utility companies are not going to cut off your utilities for the next 90 days. So you don't have to worry about your utility company cutting off your utilities. Like, it's just not going to happen. So make sure that you call these businesses and find out what the real deal is. Make sure that you're talking to an actual person from the actual company, because these scammers, I mean, payback's a bitch, and I really hope that it comes back and bites them on the ass for doing these kinds of things, because to behave like this under these circumstances, it's just disgusting, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself if you're doing it. So that's, you know, the low note. And so let's go on to a new one. Let me tell you about a couple people, one of which is my roommate, my landlady, my wonderful friend. And seeing how I already outed her, Anne-Marie. This woman, normally, like pre-crisis. She is an incredibly supportive person. She actually called me while I was in Poland because she was worried about me feeling lonely, and so she reached out. A beautiful, beautiful person, and she does amazing things for people everywhere. Right now, she is out taking a little gift to a little girl who's not feeling well. She's trying to get in touch with various seniors that she knows to make sure that they have everything that they need. I mean, she's just the most amazing person. She's been incredibly supportive to me, making sure that I have enough of what I need. Even now, she's going to pick me up more coffee because, you know, a writer and coffee. You need to put in the coffee so that the words come out. It's just how it works. It's like a thing. It's like putting money into a machine to make it work. I don't know, but I need coffee just to exist is essentially the problem. And so she's making sure that I have coffee because of the surgery that I had. I have to be careful with exposure to other people. I still have, I think it's another week before my 6 weeks are over. Seems to be taking forever, but I'm already working out and I'm not supposed to. So. But yeah, so she is amazing, and there are more people who are as amazing as she is. And she, like this COVID thing, she stepped up even more hardcore, and has been really making sure that people are in good shape, that her family's in good shape, that her friends are in good shape, and the woman would do just about anything for anybody. So lots of love to her. Another friend, we'll just call him M. He works at an airport. Again, I think he'd be embarrassed if I said anything, but he cleans planes for a living. Some of you know who I'm talking about. He's the most amazing person on the planet and takes no credit for these things at all, but he had the presence of mind to pick up some sprayers before things got really nuts so that he could spray down the planes to make sure, like, to kill off the viruses. There's some kind of spray that you can use to kill these viruses, and it's perfectly safe if it winds up on cutlery or whatever. So he picked up these sprayers and the stuff that he needed, and he's been, you know, putting himself out there and making sure that these planes are as safe as possible. He has an amazing team as well, so shout out to all of them. And he's doing all of these things while his partner's wife is ill, and he's sort of taken the brunt of the business and just keeps going. And the guy just is, he just doesn't stop. He's one of those, you know, like my roommate. He's kind of a hero of mine, a real inspiration. So there are some wonderful people in the world that are doing really great things, and they did them before we had this crisis, and they're even more so now that we're in this crisis. And I really want to applaud them, first of all, and thank them for their tireless energy, their work, and I mean, at times it's not even their work, it's just their volunteering. They're just, they have this great heart, and they just are doing good things in the world. So in these times of frustration and maybe despondency for some people, just remember there are some really amazingly good people in the world that are really putting it out there and looking after people, and really hats off to those that do those kinds of things. Let's see here. Yeah, okay, so let's talk again. We're going to go back to the low side. Those are the good sides, like the awesome things, and then there's, you know, the low sides. I saw a tweet by from Jagmeet Singh the other day, and he basically said that closing the borders to anyone other than Canadian citizens and American citizens was, I'm not sure exactly how he put it, but basically it stunk of racism. Like, serious, we're dealing with a crisis, a biological crisis. It happens to come from China. That's where it started. We know that. Nobody's arguing that point, except maybe the Chinese temporarily, who seem to want to blame anybody but themselves. But it came out of China. That's why we call it the Chinese flu, or the Wu flu, or whatever you would call it. It came from that place. It doesn't matter who lives in that place. Doesn't matter what color their skin is, doesn't matter what their religion is, doesn't matter what their gender is. None of that matters. It came from that area and it's been spreading around the world. The reason that we're closing down the borders is not to say, oh, nobody of, I don't know what definition you want to use, can come through. It's a matter of saying, we're trying to stop a virus here that is killing people. And it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. We don't want you coming in case you might be a carrier. Now, you riddle me this, Mr. Singh. Is the flu only carried by people of Chinese descent? I guess not, because it's just absolutely raging through Iran, Italy, and multiple other countries. So it has got nothing to do with racism. I mean, Jagmeet Singh is like this one-trick pony. All he's got is racism, and everything is racist. It's like, no, sometimes you're just an asshole and you're getting bullied because you're an asshole. That's it, you know? The guy he is not fit for purpose. He really is not. Leader, that's not leadership. That's stupidity. Yeah, anyway, y'all hear me. I don't care what you call this COVID-19. I could give a rat's ass. Doesn't matter. What matters is this thing spreads like wildfire. It's not just, I mean, even people that you hear who have had it, it doesn't sound like just your typical flu. It sounds more like pneumonia. And I've had pneumonia several times. So I'm very aware of what that sounds like, what that looks like, and how that feels. I get it. I've had bronchitis as well. I mean, that's some of the reasons why I am very, very careful about my health. I want to keep myself safe. I like life. I want to keep living it. And you know what? I think everybody needs to be the same. You don't want to get pneumonia either. You don't want to get sick, because right now that sickness can kill you, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Yes, it is more likely to kill somebody who is, I believe, over 60. The rates like just jump big time. But even under 60, there are still people who are dying. There are people who are dying in their 20s and their 30s that contract this. I don't know what all the different issues might be. I mean, maybe they have pre-existing conditions. Maybe their immunity was a bit low. Maybe, you know, it's doctors and nurses that have been working 24/7 to try to combat this thing that are succumbing to it. I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows right now. We're not going to know all of the details of this disease or this virus until probably years from now, whenever we can look at what happened, how it spread, who was getting it, why they might have been getting it. I mean, we just don't know the answers to these things, and therefore, and that's what the governments have been doing, mostly the Alberta government in Canada, but what's happening is we're going, okay, we're going to try to, they call it flatten the curve. Okay, we'll call it flatten the curve. But what they're trying to do is to try to get people to be as safe as possible so as not to spread this thing, so that we can save as many people as possible. I mean, that's the bottom line. We want to save as many people as possible. We have governments who have been reckless and stupid in the way that they've handled it, and that's not just in Canada, although Canada, oh my goodness. There are people I know who are saying we need to just absolutely broom the liberal government right now because they're just useless. They're making a mess of this. My argument is, what do we replace them with? And okay, yeah, the Conservatives right now might be a better option, but how do we do that right now? I mean, unless the military comes in and takes over, I can't see of any other way, because you're not going to hold an election right now. You can't hold an election right now. There are bigger fish to fry. So we need to take our focus, and that's why I'm not working on the Wexit book. We need, well, it's a whole project because there's also a documentary that we're hoping to do. But anyway, that is on the side because that's not what's important right now. It's important, don't get me wrong, it's important. But right now, what we need to focus on, we need to have our priorities in place. And our priorities need to be on trying to prevent this this virus from spreading even further. We need to keep people as healthy as we can possibly keep them. It is a scary, scary thing. There are young people that get it. There are old people that get it. The old people are more likely to die, but there are some young people that are dying. We need to stop it. We need to prevent it as best as we can. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not racist. It's totally not. This virus, it doesn't look at your color, it doesn't look at your gender, it doesn't look at your sexual orientation or your religion. It doesn't care. It will infect you and it will potentially kill you, and it doesn't care. So stop trying to say that calling it something makes any difference at all. It doesn't. Does it matter where it came from? Not really. It just makes it convenient to call it after the place that it came from. And then, at some point we've got to start looking at where it came from, how it developed, what we can do in the future to prevent people from dying from this thing. That's what it's all about. Jagmeet Singh needs to get his head out of his backside, get his head in the game, and start thinking about protecting people. Not their color, not their gender, not their orientation, their religion, or anything else. Just people. Because whenever it comes to this virus, we are all just people and susceptible to this disease. Or virus. I keep being corrected because, there's a smarty pants in my family that is really into science and keeps telling me off for using wrong words. So, y'all know what I mean though, I'm sure. Okay, so that's, one of those low ones. Let's see here. Okay, so there's a couple more things. I will, this is just my first one back, so I'm a little shaky and probably all over the place, but that's why I'm using the notes, because I'm trying to get, better. Okay, so one more thing that I want to stress to people is we have the technology today. I know, there are, okay, so two things. Let me start with the first thing. See, all over the place. First of all, there are businesses, and I want to give them a big shout out. These are independent businesses that are like grocery stores that are saying, we're opening our stores early so that those who are seniors, have immune deficiencies, disabled, can come in early, get what they need in a clean, fully stocked store, so it makes it easier for them. Awesome. Love to hear that. Another one, there are offices I know of that have closed down. They want their people to be safe. They've said, stay home. We're going to pay you. Stay home because we want you to be better. And they're just running, daily meetings or whatever to make sure that they're staying in touch and keeping the training up and what have you. So again, shout out to those businesses that are doing that. To the governments that are making funds available for those people that don't have those luxuries. Whatever we can do as a society is a good thing. And that sort of brings me into the piece that I want to talk about as well. We have the technology right now that we can work from home, but we also can connect with people in all kinds of ways. Now, one of the things that they talk about is, a phone call is just a voice connection, but doing things like Skype calls, FaceTime, doing, using messenger apps, WhatsApp, that kind of thing, and doing like video chats, that type of thing. I mean, even my 74-year-old dad knows how to use Skype. So what I'm encouraging people to do today, and I really want to emphasize this, is you have family members, you have friends that will be, maybe not this week, but eventually they'll start to feel a bit cagey with this going on. They're predicting that we're talking about months, not days or weeks. So think about those people that you can reach out to and reach out to them. I mean, you might be one of those people that gets a little cagey staying indoors and not having that social contact. Reach out. I implore you. Reach out to people and talk to them. If it's in texting and that's working for you, great. If you need to make a phone call, make a phone call. If you can Skype somebody or do like a video chat, that's even better. But make sure that you are staying in touch with people, that you're interacting, and that you're finding ways to get that social interaction that you need as a human being. I'm very lucky. I have a wonderful roommate, as I said. I have great family members and wonderful friends all over the world, and I'm in touch with them all the time. I'm always like that anyway, to the annoyance of some people. I know, I know. I try to control myself, but I can't. And then there's some people that they think I don't talk to them often enough, or when I get on the phone with them, it's 2 or 3 hours because they just can't stop. And then I know there's some of my friends that we talk like teenage girls, hours at a time, usually about politics. So, not quite like teenage girls, but we throw in some boy talk too while we're there. Why not? Um, the point is, the point I'm trying to make is please, please, please get in touch with people, stay in touch, but do it through the devices that we have that can help you to keep your sanity during these times of trouble. Be good to each other. Try to help out your neighbors as much as you can. Don't be assholes. And just really think about who needs the help and who you can reach out to, and do it. Because we're in for the long haul. That's what it sounds like. I believe that's true. So, do what you can to connect with people and make them feel okay. Get them some groceries whenever you're going to pick up some stuff too. Just take care of each other. And on that note, I'm going to kind of leave it, but I'm going to say one more thing. I have been in touch with people all over the world. I have some information about boots on the ground, so to speak, people in different places that I know and I trust, and I'm getting their feedback on what's going on around them. Mostly I'm hearing about the hospitals are busy, not necessarily with COVID. People are panicking all over the world. Schools are closed, businesses are being closed, not because you know their businesses are having to close down, but because they feel it's the right thing to do under the circumstances, because we want this thing to end. We don't want it to spread any farther. And so a lot of people are taking the initiative and doing their best. I mean, for me, I'm a writer. I work, my laptop is my work. That's where I do things. I have all kinds of ideas that have just been um, fertilizing themselves over time, and I'm going to continue working on those. But I will try to come back and be on here far more frequently as part of my initiative to try to reach out to people and keep the communication going. So please leave messages, leave comments in the comments section. Reach out to me in whatever way. I am here for you as best as I can be, and yeah, let's get through this together. All the best, everyone. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's just stick together through this and get through it.